What's good, guys? It's TSG. In today's video, we have another nominee for the Illuvinati Council. Today's guest is Sascha. How's it going, man?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, it's funny. I was just saying to your just before this. I love that we always have the conversation before the camera, and then we have to do the hey, what's up, guys? Like we haven't been talking already. But all right, yeah, let's get straight into the questions, man. The first question that I have today is your thoughts on the discussion about the duration of the epochs. And I think your perspective is, again, a pretty unique one compared to everyone else, considering that you've been a part of the council, I believe, twice now. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been consecutively on 2 epochs and did not run last epoch because of other priorities that I didn't want to jeopardize the work on the Illuvium Council on for.
Yeah, awesome. So the fact, the fact that you've done it twice consecutively as well, I'm keen to hear your thoughts on the whole conversation about the duration of epochs. Where it's been 3 months when there's just been an IIP being proposed right now for 6 months. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about the length of the epoch? Do you think it needs to be extended? And what are your thoughts there?
I've been an active supporter of a 6-month epoch for quite a while. We do have it incorporated in the Polymos governance structure as well. The reason for that is not necessarily that I think 6 months is going to fix everything. I just feel like when you look at how nominations have been going in the past elections, I feel like there's unnecessary drama around it. It's kind of like just pulls the priorities of people to stuff that I think shouldn't be a priority. We really need to look at the team being able to just deliver the game. And I feel like longer epochs and for the team to work a little bit more consistently with a council that hopefully then also would use this prolonged period to become a little bit more active and actually directing the community and future proposals. I think that would just help us getting to this more constant delivery of the game.
Yeah. And I'm curious. I want to ask for you because, like I said, you've been there twice. What were your personal feelings while you were in there? Because obviously you've said you've been advocating for a 6 month. What were the pros, if there were any, and what were the cons of the 3 month epoch while you were actually in there from the inside?
Now, I don't think there were a lot of pros, to be honest, for me personally. I feel like a lot of what people say about not prolonging it is always about like if there is some bad council members on it, then it's going to take too long to get them out. I mean, you can just vote them out, like if we or ask them to resign. Like I don't think there's any issue to get rid of a council member that is actually detrimental to the DAO. Yeah. So I more felt like every time we had those epochs starting, we were elected, we started a little bit of discussions, and then you kind of just had a couple of proposal discussions and you were already looking at the next election again. So you were barely able to vote on the proposals that you started to discuss during the epoch. And I feel like that kind of was a little bit disruptive for some of the proposals as well.
Yeah, because that was something that because it was like only 3 months ago that I started content and I did the first bits of these chats. And it feels like we were saying, it's going to be a big epoch with a lot of things happening. And it seems like it's kind of gone by so quickly. And not many proposals have actually been proposed.
We've said that for a while. And I'm hoping this epoch is actually going to be the big one. Yeah,
I'm refraining from saying that again. I'm going to wait until we see what happens. Yeah. So cool. The biggest discussions with that, like you say, I've noticed that there have been 2 main topics about the epoch duration, about that discussion. One is about giving the council members enough time to do the things that you're saying, like the environment for the council members themselves, and that you've addressed already. The second part is actually about community engagement, and the discussion around 3 months maybe being too often. Like the argument for and against that is it being constant. It brings awareness to the governance side, the voting aspect of the DAO, and the negative, the against side is that it's too often and it starts to feel like a nuisance and it puts people off voting. What are your thoughts on that in regards to the duration and how that's going to affect the community sentiment around voting?
I think if the council members that are getting voted into a 6-month epoch are active council members, or at least are trying to more actively contribute to the discussions in some kind of fashion, it's actually going to be beneficial for the engagement, because we do have the 3 months EPOS right now, so we know exactly how this is playing out, and you just need to look at the amount of nominees trying to get elected. You need to look at the amount of people voting on, for example, the last two elections. Numbers were going down while the people in the Discord and in the community, the exposure of Illuvium was going up. Yeah. So I think, and for me personally, it has been a huge nuisance to have it all every 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that it got proposed by Rich in a proposal now.
Yep. Awesome. All right. That's a good way, and we can use that to move on to the next question as well.
Sure.
So the next question is, I'm not sure if I've seen you as active in the discussion, but there has been a crazy amount of discussions about the revenue distribution for this land sale. So we know the land sale is coming out June 2nd. It starts June 2nd, and it's going to be the first time we actually experience revenue, a revenue generating event and revenue distribution to its to the stakeholders. And the discussion there is, how do we distribute that? Do we distribute that in a lump sum in a short period of a week or two, compared to a month, 3 months, 6 months, a lengthier period, maybe even a year? And there's a lot of for and against both sides, all sides. But where do you stand on that? And what's your perspective there?
So first of all, I'm kind of like not able to say the exact days that I would take here. What I can say is I would be against an immediate lump sum because of the ability of bots and other parties to just kind of like hijack that, take their share, and then go out again. Yeah. I'm also against something that goes like 12 months and longer, because what you do is kind of you drag out the revenue of the land sale now, but you're going to do the same with the revenue after, the revenue after, the revenue after. And it kind of feels like the exact same issue we have with all the tokens that are coming to unlock now. You're kind of just like dragging out everything, but you're not really changing what's happening at the end of it. You're just like delaying what's going to happen. So I would probably be in the camp of those that are arguing for something within 30 days. Yep. So I can see a reason and some arguing for smoothing it out, just to make sure that it's not one lump sum, that it's less easy to kind of like be hijacked. But you also have to remember, we already had staking V2 changes. Yep. So in order to get a share of any revenue, now you have to stake for a month. You can't stake flexibly anymore. So that's already a change that does something here. And on top of that, what I've seen it, but I haven't seen it as prominent in the discussion, is that people that are only going to get in with a month to hijack as much of that revenue as possible, they will get a limited share of it, because there have been so many tokens in this system now that have been staked for 12 months and have the full 2.0 token weight. Not just the people that staked for a full year, but also like all the staking yield that has been claimed already. So it's a tiny fraction of the revenue you can actually hijack right now. So I don't think there's a need to prolong this payout indefinitely. Make it within 30 days, get it out, and then let's focus on getting additional revenue coming in rather than talking about this one-time payment that is coming.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it is just me, but I think the discussion about having that shorter period, that lump sum, isn't about the people staking to hijack the revenue. I think it's for the players that are buying the ILV token just through exchanges or whatnot, and then waiting for the price to pump and then selling it. Not even expecting to get any of the revenue themselves, just using that what we know is going to happen and just making that profit and dumping it like that. So that's obviously working against the long-term holders.
Yes, of course. But in essence, like if you look at it from a long-term holder perspective, even right now, the price obviously is down. I mean, we all would love to see a 1900 all-time high again and all that kind of stuff. But if you're actually a long-term holder, getting revenue distribution right now in the form of ILV is actually beneficial for you if you're willing to hold long term, because the lower the price, the more ILV you get, and the more value you have if you're actually willing to show diamond hands here. So I think I'm against trying to regulate the market crazily artificially.
Yeah.
I think, yes, let's put some measures in place, and I think we do have that. But outside of that, if there are speculators trying to speculate, I mean, this is why it's a free market, you know? Like, if you want to regulate everything from within the protocol, then we're kind of like defeating the purpose of having a free market from my point of view.
Yeah, and I think it's the way you describe that is very well thought out, and I think you've kind of presented that well. All right, let's move on to the third question I have, man, and that is about the fluctuation of fuel prices. So we know that we've now accepted that it's going to be fluctuating by 25% either way, and what the discussion around that is what is that going to do for the average gamer getting into Illuvium who just wants to play the game? Because with fluctuating prices means that the loops that they go on is going to fluctuate. Just playing the game is going to fluctuate in price. And the conversation is it beneficial? Is it better off if we have the fuel prices stock standard, lock that in so people know they know what to expect to pay when they play the game? Should we keep it as what we're doing now with Rails, but maybe put it down to 5-10% fluctuations? Maybe even increase it a little bit, or so it still gives a feeling of the free market, or completely get rid of the Rails completely and actually let it be 100% complete free market. What are your thoughts there, and how do you think all of this is going to affect gamers in general, the average gamer, and just everyone in the community in general, like your different points there?
Yeah, so I probably have a quite unpopular or at least unique opinion when it comes to this. So first of all, I think the complexity of everything in regards to fuel and Illuvium Zero in general is by now, from my point of view, actually become a little bit detrimental to what we're trying to focus on here. Initially, the land and Illuvium Zero was supposed to be a mini game that can kind of like give some kind of engagement for everyone there towards the open beta that back then was supposed to be in like December roughly.
Yeah.
And from a game design perspective, I feel like what Fuel and Illuvium Zero is adding is awesome if you just look at it from that perspective. But I feel like we should focus a lot more on the main game. We should focus a lot more on the adoption of the space. And that's like to come back to your question in regards to gamers in general. I think that there shouldn't be any fluctuation whatsoever. I'm not even a big fan that Illuvium Zero is actually able to affect the players in the main game.
Yeah.
I feel like if you look at the auto battler, which is like already showing amazing quality, if you obviously have seen the leaks of the overworld, like the main game is offering so much value already. And I think what we want to focus or should focus on, like in my humble opinion, is that we should get as many people as possible across this game in its final version. Mm-hmm. And this is going to just jumpstart a huge influx of people coming over. And if they are basically experiencing these kinds of fluctuations, and I'm not saying you don't have that in some kind of fashion in Web 2, but I feel like if they get too much crypto speculation, this kind of might be off-putting because there's still so much fear about this being a scam or whatever. So I would prefer to have fixed USD prices.
Yeah.
So if a travel costs $3, $5, $30, whatever, let it cost exactly that.
Yeah.
This might then change the amount of fuel that is required to be paid, but the speculation is only on the side of the Illuvium Zero players and the landowners. It's not longer affecting the players on the other side.
The average,
So I feel like I'm a huge advocate for no fluctuation at all when it comes to how the prices are in the main game.
Yep. Are you strictly on that? Where obviously you're very passionate about that. Are you strictly on the whole definite no fluctuation, or would you be open to perhaps like a 5%, just so it still includes some of that, or would you rather leave that out completely and stay true to the no fluctuation at all?
I mean, it really depends on the discussion. I've read the discussion that some people had so far. Obviously, that proposal was passed in that one epoch where I was less active in general. if I should have voted on that without any discussion, which obviously on council there would have been, if I would have voted it straight up, I would be absolutely no, absolutely zero, no discussion whatsoever. But I don't want to say it's impossible for me to be supportive of some kind of fluctuation if I can see the value in it from other points of views. And I haven't seen enough other point of views to say with a conviction here that they are impossible to convince me about some fluctuation. But right now, as I sit here, based on what I know and have seen as arguments, absolutely zero from my point of view.
Yeah, right. No, that's fair. That's fair. All right, let's move on to the final question, man. I always end up with like a little fun question. I know you've watched the other interview, so I'm pretty sure you know what the question is. With the land sales coming up, the T5 lands, they're gonna have the arenas on them. If you were able to get the naming rights for one of the arenas, what would you name it?
Very easy, considering that Polymus is going to be a GameFi hub very much focused on competitive play as well. Obviously, I would name it the Polymus Arena. So very easy.
Okay, that was very easy. I didn't even have to waste too much time with that one. All right, yo, thank you so much, Sascha, for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. I know you're really busy. What's the best way for people to contact you? Is it Discord? Is it Twitter? What's the best way to hit your line?
Like my Twitter obviously is welcome for anyone to check out. My DMs are open. I know that a lot of people have them closed. I do try to answer all the DMs that are coming in. So if anyone wants to reach out privately, feel free to do so. So I would say if they want an actual conversation, definitely just hit me up on Discord.
Awesome. All right. Again, thank you so much, man. Before we close out, is there anything else that you wanted to kind of leave us with? Anything that you wanted to plug? Polymus?
No. Like this is about ILV and Illuvium Council nomination. So we're not here to talk about Polymus. But I do want to say that I super appreciative of you doing these interviews. I would actually love to see them a little bit more officially supported. I think it would be great to have some kind of format for this in an official capacity. I know that Rich is trying a lot of things to improve, and that certainly shows already in a lot of areas. And whenever, I don't know, new governance version 2.0 hits or whatever, maybe that could be a format that could be a little bit more officially supported. So, and then of course, I would be a huge supporter of you kind of like leading this as a host.
Dan, thank you so much, man. Yeah, I've actually been talking to Dick about possibilities. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, again, thank you so much for coming on, man. For everyone else that is watching, I believe this is going to be the last interview that I do this Epoch. There might be a last minute interview, but I think this is going to be the last one. So for anyone that is watching, I appreciate all of you guys. I'm going to add the playlist down below so you can check it all out, get informed on who you want to vote for, who you think is going to represent you the most. And again, thank you, Sascha. Thank you guys for watching. You guys know the deal. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Bye, guys.